Hello everyone, I have Harshit Dwivedi with me. Harshit participated in Google Summer of Code 2016 with FOSS Asia. Hello Harshit.
Hello.
Yeah. So we would like to know about your experiences with FOSS Asia and GSOC 2016.
Yeah, so I'd say that participating in Google Summer of Code definitely helped me become a better developer, because I was an Android developer before I joined GSOC, but there were some things that GSOC taught me that I couldn't have learned otherwise. Like one of those things was working in a team. Okay, because my teammates in GSOC were not from this country. Some of the guys were from Germany, or other ones were from Poland. So because of time difference and all, I had to manage working with them in a team. Secondly, I had to maintain a code base, because the code that I was writing was not just limited to my use. People were actually using it, and the product was live on the Play Store. So like each and every change that I made, I had to ensure that it should not break the product itself, because that would be affecting many people at a large scale. So the mindset that I developed by working with FOSS Asia at GSOC was definitely that I couldn't have learned otherwise.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you think your work with open source? So what are the advantages you see working with open source organizations or contributing to open source?
So opportunities like GSOC is definitely one thing, but other than that, you get to work with like really great developers. For example, my mentor at FOSS Asia, he developed his own OS, Ubuntu, which is a fork of Ubuntu. So like he knows very some things that I couldn't have learned otherwise. So working with him and getting his insights on my project and getting his reviews, his suggestions on the project that I can do, definitely helped me a lot. And the other things are that there is a satisfaction of that your work is actually helping other people who cannot afford to pay for software. So being open source software, normally it's free. So like you are developing for people who cannot normally afford to pay for software. So that is a feeling of the spirit. That's the spirit of open source that you get. That feeling is a pretty good feeling, that I think.
Yeah, that's great. So as a successful GSOC participant, what would be your advice to the students who are gearing up for GSOC 2017 and to the software developers who are building projects?
Okay, so for GSOC, I'd say that you should be as much involved in the community that you can. So try to be try to get active in the community, like which you are aiming to do GSOC with. Say for example, you want to do GSOC with Kubuntu. So just be involved in their mailing list. Like speak to people over there. Like ask them if there is any issue that you can help them out with. And for people who want to become software developers in general, I'd say that better start writing code rather than reading code. Okay, like if you want to learn about a new technology, so rather than going online and reading guides about it, I'd suggest you just jump head start into the source code and try to code that thing by yourself. Because that will help you understand how the thing internally works, because reading guides will only tell you so much, but if you are having a look at the source code by yourself, then that would definitely help you know how the thing is working and how you can modify it and work with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Writing codes is the key to success. So one last question, can you elaborate more on the technologies you have worked upon during your projects, and what are the emerging trends you see in 2016 and 2017?
Okay, so for me, my project, I worked on mainly Android, the backend server, LAMP server, and web, just a fraction of web, front end and back end. Okay, and for the emerging technologies right now, I will be speaking in the perspective of Android, since I am an Android developer. So for now, you guys should definitely try using Realm as a database alternative, because rather than traditional open SQL and SQLite, what Realm does is it uses objects and it creates objects and stores the objects in the database itself, rather than creating tables and all, which is a bit messy. So if you know Java, then using Realm to store a database, it's quite easy. Rather than you have to learn another SQL language, you can just simply store your data into database using Java that you already know and are familiar with. Second thing is Kotlin. So we normally create Android apps in Java. So I'd suggest you to have a look at creating apps using Kotlin. It's an upcoming technology, upcoming language. Okay, it's based on Java, but it has some key improvements over Java. It reduces the number of lines of code that you have to write, and it also makes debugging easier. So these are two things that I think that you guys should focus on. One more thing is RX Java. It's a reactive extensive Java. So that's also one thing you can have a look at.
So a lot of new things are coming out in the market. So you told a lot of new technologies. So I think this was good enough for the interview. Thank you for joining us.
No, my pleasure.